Virginia City, Nevada is a historic mining town that played a big role in the development of the American West in the 19th century. It gained fame due to the discovery of the Comstock Lode. This massive silver deposit transformed the area almost overnight into a bustling mining town. From the 1860s through the 1880s, Virginia City quickly became one of the richest mining towns in the world. Its population swelled to over 25,000, including Mark Twain, then a young journalist that worked for a Virginia City newspaper. By the 1870s, the silver veins began to deplete, and the Great Fire of 1875 caused many residents to leave. Let's look closer at one of the biggest and most profitable mines of Virginia City. The Chollar Mine is a historic gold and silver mine that played a significant role in the development of the region during the late 19th century. It was established in 1859. The Comstock Lode, which includes the Chollar Mine, was the first major discovery of silver ore in the United States. It drew thousands of miners, investors, and entrepreneurs to Nevada, sparking a mining boom that shaped the region's economy and culture. By the 1860s, the Chollar Mine was in full operation, extracting valuable silver and gold ore from the rich veins beneath Virginia City. Advanced mining techniques were developed during this period to address challenges such as flooding and cave-ins. The use of the square-set timbering system, invented by mining engineer Philip Deitzheimer, became a standard in deep mining operations and was instrumental in the success of the Comstock mines. The Chollar Mine contributed significantly to the wealth generated by the Comstock Lode, which funded infrastructure projects, businesses, and even helped finance the Union during the Civil War. The riches from the mine also contributed to the development of San Francisco, as many investors used their profits to build industries and infrastructure there. As ore deposits were depleted and mining technology evolved, the profitability of the Chollar Mine declined. By the early 20th century, most mining operations in the area had ceased. However, the site was preserved as a historical landmark, offering a glimpse into the lives of miners and the industrial techniques of the time. Today, the Chollar Mine is a popular tourist destination. Visitors can explore parts of the underground mine and see exhibits on the history of the Comstock Lode, the mining process, and the equipment used. It stands as a testament to the ingenuity and determination of the miners and engineers who contributed to Nevada's early economic development. The Chollar Mine remains an important piece of American history, showcasing the impact of mining on the United States.
loads in it. Barely squeezed through.
Candles, because everything else would give off a gas called carbon monoxide, which would probably get you killed. So you may not think a candle would give you that much light, unless you find yourself in this kind of an environment where this candle is the only thing between you and total darkness. Now, as your eyes become more accustomed to the low light, you can actually see quite well. And probably while they were working in here, they may have had as many as a dozen candles burning at the same time. And so everybody is doing fine until...
Get your hands out of my pockets, John.
Now,
Gotcha.
If you're a honeymoon couple, keep your hands to yourself.
Yeah.
All right. Now, what would cause that candle? We could stay here in the darkness all day long. Now, what would cause this candle to suddenly go out on its own?
Gust of
What?
wind? Gust of air?
Nope.
Sneezing?
What?
Sneezing?
Wait, so how do you
What's
relight it?
Lack of oxygen?
That's right. Good dog. You get a biscuit.
So there was a benefit for having the candles too, because it would tell them the oxygen.
Oxygen levels.
So these candles provided light as well as the danger of bad air, which is the bane of every mine in the world. Come on in. Come on in.
Okay, thank you.
There's room off to the side here.
I'm just gonna find a way where I won't hit my head.
All right, now, as I mentioned, the main shaft was 1,420 feet straight down, powered by a hoist works. In other words, you had a steam engine up above that controlled the gears that hoist operator had to have to raise and lower the cages containing the miners, their equipment, their tools, through all 13 levels of this mine once it was in full operation after 1865. 13 different levels. That's 20 miles of drifts, shafts, and stopes. Ladies and gentlemen, this mine was huge, huge. And this is just a shadow of what it used to be. Now that hoist operator had one of the most critical jobs of anyone else on the mine site, because he was responsible for the safety of all those miners coming up and down in those open cages. For that reason, they kept him isolated when they could. Kept him totally isolated from everybody else, because he could not allow himself to be distracted. He could not allow himself to lose his focus. He could not allow himself to misinterpret a bell signal, because if he did, people could get killed. So for that reason, if you got caught talking to him while he was on duty, you risked being fired right on the spot. Because once again, you can't do a lot of mining when you're killing off your miners left and right. Okay? Now, anything subsequent to that had to be dug by hand. So ladies and gentlemen, allow me to show you a shaft, opposed to giving you the shaft. How you doing there, bub? No, you're not in my way. There. Here's a shaft at one time 200 feet down. Now this was an access shaft. It was dug by hand. Once again, the only mine you could get from the surface was the main shaft. Here's a square set timbering. This is accessed by a ladder. Now, this was used to access the second and third stopes below us. Okay? So what they would do, come on in, folks, come on in. Now, what they would do, dig this shaft down in order to blast out the second and third stopes. And once they blasted out that stope, they would bring the ore up here. And to bring the ore up here, they had to have something truly extraordinary. So what I'm about to show you, ladies and gentlemen, is something unlike anything you have ever seen before, and I all but guarantee you will never see anything like it again. What I'm about to show you is something that you will talk about for days and days, about how this one day, the 21st of December, 2024, not my age, I don't know. This 2-bit tour guide brought you in here to show you something you will never ever forget. What I'm about to show you is something you will talk about for days and days, about how this tour guide brought you in here to show you a very large bucket. Was that for drama?
That's quite a building.
Now, what I told you, aside from the drama, is the absolute truth. This is unlike anything you've ever seen before, and I all but guarantee you will never see anything like it again. And here's the reason why. Every bucket that came out of this mine from 1861 until well after the turn of the century contained up to $1,500 in silver. Now that was back when silver was $1 an ounce. Gold was $20 an ounce. But for every ounce of gold that came out of this mine, 100 ounces of silver. Now you know why we were called the Silver State. Now, put your thinking caps on. How many hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of buckets loaded with $1,500 in silver was it going to take to create $17.3 million in less than 25 years? Don't ask me, I can't count that.
A lot.
But now here's the kicker. We were not the top producer. We were fifth. We were the fifth largest producer here. That pretty much tells you why we were called the richest place on earth. Now, after 1870, things got a lot easier. Now you no longer needed manpower. Now you could use compressed air. And here we have a winch powered by compressed air. This made the job a lot faster. Now, here's the way it would work. The winch operator would be standing by there. He had to have a signal from down below to let her know it was time to bring up the very heavy one-of-a-kind bucket. So they had to rely on bell signals. So here we have a bell connected to this clapper. And when he pulled on that rope down there 3 times, all right, Jake, bring it up. 1 bell. Stop it. Dump the ore carts. Get it out of here on rails as quickly as possible. 2 bells. That meant now they had to get out of the way down there because they got lowered a dad blasted bucket. If the bucket were to break loose and hit somebody down there, that'd be a major violation of the Sense of Humor Act. Now, an accident did happen. All right. Here now is where everything comes together. Now it's time to blast out the ore face. Here we have the ore face behind these folks here. You see these 2 jackleg drills powered by compressed air. These were built by Ingersoll Rand. That company's still in business today. All right.
Where was the compressor?
Up
top.
Up front, yeah. And the compressors were huge, huge. They were all steam powered. And they were consuming ungodly amounts of cordwood a day. In fact, the pumps that were used to pump out the floodwaters from some of the deeper mines, those pumps weighed 500 tons, came around the horn on the ship, came up here in pieces by the railroad, put into operation. They were requiring 50 cords of wood a day. Cords of wood. A cord of wood would heat your house for a whole winter. These were 50 cords of wood a day, and there were 2 of them in operation. Now you know why by 1890 there wasn't enough cordwood or timber left in the Lake Tahoe Basin for a toothpick factory because it was all used up.
Do you know how much PSI the compressors could produce, or?
Young man, I haven't a clue. I will tell you though, it was sufficient enough to operate compressed air inside these mines. But I will tell you they were huge. Yeah, in fact, we got a piece of it left there outside.
Oh.
All right, now, where was I? Oh, time to blast out the ore phase. To do that, they had to bring in a specialist. And that specialist was commonly and affectionately referred to as a powder monkey. Now, I've got to tell you a funny story. It's been over a month now. How old are you?
11.
11? He was younger than you. Youngster came in here like this young guy. And I mentioned they had to have powder monkeys to blast out the ore. And he looked at me and he said, how did they get the monkeys to do that? He was serious. And so I told him, oh, they had to work hard, they were young, and they had to move around a lot, and they were very well liked and respected because the jobs they had were very, very dangerous, and somehow the word monkey got attached to it. He said, oh, okay, thank you. But anyway, even today, blasting specialists in industrial and mining are still called powder monkeys. Now, his job to determine how he wanted that blasted. He knew if he blasted too much, he could cause a cave-in. That was a given. But even more importantly, if he blasted too much, it would take more time, more manpower, more money to get it out of here. And that would cause things to slow down. And that also would cause a major violation of the Sense of Humor Act. So he had to be very careful. Now, once those holes are drilled to his satisfaction, then he would load them. Prior to 1868, he had no choice, he had to use black powder. But after 1868, now thanks to a chemist from Sweden by the name of Nobel, now he could use what?
Dynamite.
Who said dynamite? Good dog, you get a biscuit. Now, he would load those holes. Now, dynamite made the job a lot safer for him because he'd use 20%, 40%, whatever was necessary. But now he would go ahead and load those holes and set the fuses. Now, here is where that old boy really had to know what he was doing. He knew that a foot of fuse, depending on the brand, would be either 44 seconds or 60 seconds, give or take. He would cut each fuse at a different length because when he blasted, he didn't want to hear a big boom. You would hear each individual hole in sequence, and that's what they do it today. Load those holes, set the fuses, get everybody around in a safe place, and it was ready to go. He'd say, all right, everybody, stand by, stand by. Fire in the hole, 5 holes. Boom, 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 boom. Go on the corner and look. All clear. Except there were times when maybe he got distracted. Maybe he thought he heard 5. And was confident that he heard 5, and was absolutely sure he heard 5. So he goes around the corner, and just before he can say all clear, that slow burning 5th fuse gets to the charge. Boom!
No more powder monkey.
All the king's horses and all the king's men wouldn't be able to put him back together again. And indeed, our research has shown that more than 950 miners lost their lives up here. Fire, cave-ins, accidents, and disease called consumption that I told you about out front. The deadliest accident occurred in April of 1869 when 38 miners lost their lives in an underground fire in the eastern extension to the Yellow Jacket mine. That fire no doubt started when a candle lit a timber on fire, and that fire was fueled from the air vents from up above. It sucked in that oxygen like sucking soda pop through a straw. But those 38 miners who were killed, all but 5 were recovered. There are still 5 entombed at the bottom of the eastern extension to the Yellow Jacket. So why did they do it? Why did he come here and work under these kind of conditions? They did it because they were the highest paid miners in the world. That's why. They were making $4 a day. opposed to mines in other parts of the world only making 70 cents a day. But back then, $4 a day was a livable wage. You could get a beer uptown for a nickel. There was only 80 some bars to choose from. You could get a decent meal for a quarter, and room and board was affordable at $1. So it was all relevant. Well, we had the strongest union in the world up here. The only two people that were not allowed in the mines were Chinese and women. Chinese were not allowed in the mines because, well, there was a lot of prejudice against to them, but also because they were willing to work cheaper. And you know that's a no-no when you do the union. So that's why. Any questions so far? Okay. In that case, I got a surprise for you. It is getting close to Christmas after all. Okay. How you doing, Bart?
All right, I'm on your way.
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, I'll get up.
You'll be fine.
Yes, sir.
As I mentioned out front, when I started mining up here, they were mining for gold, and they found it. Except for that blue clay. They had no idea what it was, but when it got wet, it was sticky and unmanageable. It ended up with piles and piles of the stuff laying around until somebody took it down to Grass Valley, California, out of curiosity to have it assayed. And as I mentioned, it was a holy Moses jumping Joseph's moment. And I found out that stuff was worth $3,000 a ton in high-grade silver. And ladies and gentlemen, I have a surprise for you. Silver. Silver. Here is a silver sulfide. This is the stuff that they were throwing away. Silver. Silver. This is a very large vein of silver that is still here. It goes all the way back another 200 feet. It goes beyond here another 1,000 feet above and below us. This is a very large vein of silver that is still here. Here's the vein. Over here is some copper, tin, whatever. So why is it still here? If I take the light away, you wouldn't even know that was silver. And that's why they never recognized it. So why is it still here? Well, I'll tell you. 150 years ago, miners were in here working, and they saw that silver and decided, let's leave it. Because sure enough, 150 years from now, some two-bit tour guide's going to bring people in here. They want to see what it looks like. Okay, you don't buy that story. Cost of production. What is it going to cost to take out this silver sulfide and turn it into a silver bar? It has to go through several very long and expensive steps to make it into a silver bar. That's your cost of production. Now, prior to 1876, 1877, these miners were doing well because silver was doing well. But then what happened? So much silver ended up saturated into the market. What did the market do? It collapsed. Now you have silver, whose value was here, now it's here. Under this rule of mining throughout the entire world, when the cost of production outweighs the value of what you find, you have no choice. You do what every mine in the world does. You turn off the light, throw out the cat, lock the door, and leave. And that's why it's still here. And that's why it will always be here. So we found its value is to show you what it looks like in its rawest form. Now, here we are just a few days from Christmas. And that means a lot to me because, ladies and gentlemen, I was born in a little town of Bethlehem. That's a true story. I was born in a little town of Bethlehem, not far from the village of Nazareth, Pennsylvania. All my family worked for Bethlehem. All my family worked for Bethlehem Steel Company for generations. I ran on to be a cowboy. It's the best decision I ever made. Now, you've heard the expression "canary in a coal mine." That is because coal is derived from the decaying process of animal and vegetable over millions and millions of years deep within the earth. And over time, it gives off a gas called methane, which is highly poisonous, flammable. And so, because of the ongoing process, miners would go inside those coal mines with a canary. For some reason, the canaries were super sensitive to the least amount of methane. And when the methane would get just so high, canary dropped in. Saved a lot of miners' lives, but it was hell on canaries. Here, they had rats. Hundreds and hundreds of mine rats. They used to feed them out of the lunchboxes, give them snacks throughout the day. Why? Because the rats could smell smoke before there was a fire. The rats could sense moving in the mine before something bad was going to happen. And when the rats started to scurry around in panic,
So did the miners.
Yeah.
that's exactly right. Miners knew the time to saturate that place with their absence. Rats. Rats. Touch his nose. Best $25 ever spent. All right. So why do we work so hard to keep this mine open? We work hard to keep this mine open because it's the only one left from the Comstock era when this place was truly known as the richest place on earth. The gold and silver taken out of these mines prompted Abraham Lincoln to make us a state in 1864 to preserve it all for the Union. That's the History Channel version. The real reason is because he was in danger of losing the election of 1864 and he needed the delegates. And he did it on October 31st, 1864, just days before the election. So that's the real story. The other reason is gold and silver taken out of these mines created millionaires many times over. Millionaires like John Mackey, who made so much money here, was able to finance the first Atlantic cable and the first Pacific cable. You had William Sheridan and his crew from the Bank of California. They built a railroad that linked Virginia City to Reno and the rest of the country. And you had another miner who made all his money in the Ophir mine, and he used it to create a media empire. That's the story of George Hearst. The gold and silver taken out of these mines, by 1875 we were 25,000 people. San Francisco was only 5,000 people. So we, in essence, were the largest city west of Denver. That's why. The gold and silver taken out of these mines created financial markets throughout the entire country and in some cases the entire world. That's why we keep it open. And yet despite with all that, we receive no federal money, no state money, no local money. It all comes from people like you who are willing to come in here and listen to this two-bit tour guide tell you about our history. That's why we do it. And every penny that we take in this entire season, we will use to reopen this mine after winter gets done with it. That's why. That's why I just do it for the tips. I'm retired from the Air Force and law enforcement. And at my age, I got to keep working. Any questions?
How much work is it over the winter to keep it?
Well, it depends how much water we get. Now, the winter of 22 and 23, this mine caved in 3 different places. And it took one hell of a lot of money, expertise, you just can't come in here and throw timber up, and a lot of mucking out. And that took a lot of time and effort. And because you can't do anything until the Nevada Division of Mines comes here and says, okay, it's safe.
Oh, really has to be inspected.
Oh, yeah. We don't fall under MSHA, Mining Health and Safety Administration, because we're not federal, but we still state.
Oh,
Yeah, it takes a lot of time and effort. This is probably my last year. I'm not going to work in here at 80. Bad enough working in here at 79. I can't keep watch out for those refrigerators. Okay, so thank you for taking the time to be here.
thank you.
I wish each and every one of you a very happy Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You do our part and you get what you need.
Can I wander around? I have a flashlight. And look around.
Yeah, buddy. I am the last one to leave, and I might have another tour, so we gotta do it quick.
Okay, well it's no big deal. I just thought maybe.
Yeah,
get
sure.
you-
I'm the first one in, the last one out. How about you, pup? You doing okay? Where are you from? Where's your home?
From
Klamath? Some country up there. All right. Thank you again for being here. Any questions? Okay. I'll follow everybody out.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Are you a surfer too?
Yeah, we're cracking.
Oh,
Oh no.
I'm gonna go look down that hole down there.
Were you in here when the earthquake happened? I mean, not earthquake. Yeah.
I
And
never feel the earthquakes.
huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it scary?
It happened at night when I'm in dreamland.
Oh, good. I can stand here. Oh, Lord have mercy.
Thank you, sir.
You betcha.
Thank you.
You bet.
I'm out of here. Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
You bet.
Oh, man, this thing, this number's on your back, huh?
So we missed the first part of it. How did you do that?
When you went back 400 feet, 100 feet closer. No, they're one at times funny. That was put in 1976. Oh, no, one good thing about this. When we have all kinds of snow like this. Freeze dries. Freeze dries. The snow. So pick up that green ice. Then in the summertime, garden road, stuff.
Thank you.